guys, it's Kristen, and this is a video that I was hoping to film sooner, but unfortunately with work trips and other things going on, this is the only time I get a chance to sit down and actually like compile my thoughts. But I really want to talk about the second episode of The Bold Type Season 2. So if you remember, I reviewed The Bold Type Season 1 a couple months ago, and I really loved the series. I loved how bold and feminist it was, how it tackled some really great topics that are important to women and just young people today. I really loved the friendship in the series. I thought it was great. But there was one thing that I thought was missing, and that was the addressing of Kat's blackness. They never mentioned it once throughout the whole season. There was this weird situation that went on in the middle of the season where Kat ends up getting arrested by the police after taking a swing at a man who was, hurling insults and slurs at her love interest, Adina, who's a lesbian Muslim immigrant. And just with the history of police violence against Black lives in America, especially what's going on right now, like, it is a very timely topic. You would just think that that would have been like a big moment, and instead it became this weird situation where like Kat as a Black woman like didn't understand why it was like a scary thing to be like stopped by the police. We see Kat being confused about why Adina is so upset about the situation. We have to see Jacqueline, who is Kat's white boss, explain to her. It's just like a weird thing that like you have these two non-Black people having to explain to a Black woman this whole situation. And I thought it was strange, I just didn't really get it. It seemed like kind of off to me, like whoever was working on the script or working on the scene like didn't understand what was going on with Black lives in America right now and like was not in touch with that. So that was just like the one thing that I really took away from the series last season, which was just like, what is going on? Especially with, again, how feminist and empowering the show was and how they talked about all these like different topics that we're so relevant to what's going on in society today. To completely just like forego Kat's Black identity seemed super strange to me. But going into this new season, I knew that we had a new showrunner in Amanda Lasher, and I just had this feeling that she was going to dive into the things that we didn't get to see in that first season. So Amanda Lasher, she was a showrunner on MTV's Sweet Vicious, which is another amazing show. It has like this comic book style, but it also is like really talking about these serious issues also. It's about these two girls in college who become vigilantes and get justice for women who have been sexually assaulted or raped or things like that. Unfortunately, that show was canceled way before its time because it was amazing. But Amanda Lasher worked on that show with Aisha Dee, who plays Kat in The Bold Type. And so I just had this feeling like coming in, Amanda Lasher was like, I know what's going on. She has said that she's coming in as a fan. She knows what she wants to see, what things need to be worked on. She wants to keep focus on the friendship, but also dive deeper into these other topics. So in the second episode of season 2 now, we get to explore Kat's Black identity more. She's kind of trying to get some tips on her bio to submit for, company stuff. One of the guys that she asks is like, you should include Black, the first Black female department head, like that's really impressive. And she's like kind of weird about it because she doesn't want to like claim her identity. And throughout the episode she is exploring like why she feels that way. We learn that she comes from a wealthy family, a Black father and a white mother, and the two of them have spent a lot of time trying to shield Kat from the racial biases and stereotypes and, just like the issues that they've had to deal with.
My childhood was a lot different from yours, Kat. I grew up with Blacks on one side of the city and whites on the other. And the label of race, we didn't want that for you.
And then her mom, when Kat was a baby, would feel really uncomfortable when people didn't think that Kat was her daughter because she was Black and she was white.
Maybe it's my fault. When you were little, and I would take you to the park, people assumed you weren't biologically mine. Maybe I avoided labels because I just wanted to be your mom. I didn't want to be your white mom.
If we ever made you feel that you cannot take ownership for who you are, that was not our intention.
You kind of learn like why she has this kind of fear of like isolating one of her parents, like she doesn't want to claim one identity over the other and hurt them. And at the end of the episode, she decides to identify as the first black female department head for their company, and you know, wants to be a role model for other black women.
So what did you choose?
I am Scarlet Magazine's first black female department head.
Sounds impressive.
And I'm so proud to be biracial, but for right now, it feels important to embrace this part of myself.
I'm hoping that that means that we'll see more of her dealing with real life struggles that, you know, black women and people of color deal with on a daily basis, because I think again that makes the series more realistic. I do think that it was a huge mistake to not address her race in the first season, and that sucks, but I think that already as the new showrunner, Amanda Lasher is making huge strides to include all of those stories, because like why not talk about a black woman's experience when you have a literal black woman on set playing the role, being authentic and telling her true story, you know, versus kind of like whitewashing it. Every black person or person of color has their own different experiences, you know, no one person's story is exactly the same, and so I think that it is interesting to see this perspective of Kat as, you know, this biracial, very successful woman who comes from a wealthy family, and to see that, you know, like maybe there are some differences that she experiences versus, you know, maybe some more middle class or lower class people, because she has grown up with all of these opportunities and money. But I think that at the same time there are certain core things that people experience, and to be able to see Kat kind of go through those things. She is a black queer woman in America in 2018, so there's definitely a lot of things that you can tackle dealing with that subject. People want to see their stories be told, and want to see them be told authentically and be told in different ways. And so I'm really excited to see what else Amanda Lasher has planned for the rest of the season, because I think that she's definitely someone that thinks about these things and thinks about, like, you know, how can we push this storyline further? How can we tell your story? How can we tell, you know, other women's stories and, you know, be as inclusive as possible? I'm feeling the bold type season 2 already. I'm a little bit behind, but I really wanted to talk about this episode specifically because I know it was something that I mentioned in my original video that I thought was missing, and I'm glad that that's one of the first things that Amanda Lasher brought into the series when she took over as showrunner. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'd love to know your thoughts. Make sure to leave a comment down below. Let me know what you're thinking about the bold type, what you thought about, you know, the whole situation with Kat's race in season 1 versus season 2, and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and click that subscribe button because I come out with new videos every week. See ya!